Rodney, Kelly.
Is this Cobb County Sheriff's First?
It is.
A concerned father calls the Cobb County Jail in 2019, warning staff his son, Bradley Emery, could potentially hurt himself.
I've got a son out there, and since he's been in there, I've had to call out there several times and have him on suicide watch because he's threatening to hurt himself.
From the day he arrived at the detention center, staff knew Emery had attempted suicide in the past. One of them noting in a report, Emery advised that he cut his wrist a couple of months ago when his wife threatened to leave. The 33-year-old suffered from mental illness related to a traumatic brain injury. His family says the jail knew that. At the time, Emery was in custody for drug possession.
He was a troubling inmate. He had issues, family issues.
On Valentine's Day 2019, jail staff found a rope made out of a torn mattress cover inside Emery's cell. He told the deputy who found the rope, "I'm going through with it." Emery's father continued to raise red flags about his son's mental health.
Yes, he's been in terrible shape since he's been in there. I worry about him. He's my youngest.
According to jail records, staff placed Emery under close observation at least 2 different times for threatening to hurt himself. Each time he was allowed to return to the general population after signing a contract promising not to kill himself. About 3 weeks after Emery told the deputy he would kill himself, a fellow inmate found him in the shower with the bedsheet tied around his neck.
278 and it started at single 4. There's no pulse.
So I looked in the shower, I noticed a foot. I seen that inmate Emery had hung himself with a sheet.
Don Emery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is Major Atkins with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office.
Hey.
Okay, Bradley Emery is your son, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's been a medical incident with Mr. Emery, and he's at the hospital at Cobb General.
Emery died 3 days later. According to the county, no one saw Emery hang himself. That's because there are no security cameras in the pod where he was detained, and the closest camera nearby happened to be turned off. While sheriff investigators found its staff did nothing wrong, Emery's family says the detention center did not do enough to keep him safe.
I loved him to death.
James is Emery's brother.
You know, they'd put him on psych watch, and within hours, they'd let him back out.
How about that, folks?
Sheriff Neil Warren, who runs the jail, did not respond to interview requests. Instead, it tried to stop the reveal from obtaining Emery's records. A judge later ordered the sheriff to produce the documents after the Reveal filed a lawsuit against him, claiming the sheriff violated the state's Open Records Act in an effort to shield thousands of public and potentially damaging records from disclosure in an election year. Emery joins a list of hundreds of inmates who have died inside Georgia's 4 largest county jails, 217 since 2004. Only one of those deaths investigated by an outside agency. The rest, sheriff's staff cleared themselves of any wrongdoing. Mauli Davis is the Emery family attorney.
I mean, in no other industry do we expect people to investigate themselves. And then in a death, something as serious as a human life, and you think that it's acceptable for you to investigate yourself?
Representative David Wilkerson wants to change that.
It should be investigated by a separate party.
In response to our Reveal investigations, Wilkerson plans to introduce legislation that would require outside independent investigations into all future jail fatalities.
So if this is really about making sure the jails run safe and making sure that people have a chance to have their day in court, then you'd want that independent investigation.
Days after his son's death, Emery's father called the jail begging for answers.
Can I get someone someone that's got some answers?
He died waiting from a heart attack.
After I put him on suicide watch, and y'all guaranteed me you were going to watch him every 15 minutes. My son's dead.
He literally died of a broken heart.
I believe that he died of a broken heart. I really do, because he just wanted to know what happened to his son.
While the sheriff declined to be interviewed for this story, his staff did tell me by phone today that they did everything they could to try to prevent Mr. Emery's death. Each time a family member called concerned for his well-being, they had staff check on him. They say they simply cannot monitor inmates every second of the day. They also say they hope to get funding to install a security camera that was missing in the pod where Emery was detained.